So for this Throwback Thursday, since I'm running out of photos of myself from 15 to 20 years ago, let alone photos of others that I've taken from a long time ago, I decided to share a little anecdote from my past instead. Most of you know my days of working security in one form or another, like bouncer at a nightclub or security guard at a high school, or the security manager for a small chain of grocery stores. Working security was my element. I was very comfortable at working security. I've learned a lot from those days, and it's had a strong influence on who I am today. And although it's been quite a few years since I've done security, my mind is still wired that way. That will never change. When I used to do security at my old high school, I had to rely more on psychology more than being physical with students to accomplish my duties as security guard. For example, one day, there were these two guys that were about to fight. It was very interesting to observe. They were circling each other while bouncing off each other's chest, staring into each other's eyes. It was very primal. Another student runs up to me and yells, "Mr. Security Guard, stop them, they're about to fight." I looked at them and just yelled out, "Okay, you guys, I'm watching you. Whoever throws that first punch gets kicked out for the rest of the year. Whoever returns that punch gets kicked out short term. I'll let you guys decide." No one threw that first punch. They separated, still staring each other down, and went to class. Then later on, we were able to pull them out of class separately, of course, and resolve the situation. Now, not to toot my own horn, but I was very good at what I did. But I couldn't let anyone know that. I had to let students believe that I was the most inept and clueless security guard ever. Otherwise, if they knew what I was capable of doing, no one would ever talk to me. And believe it or not, I learned a lot of my psychological tricks from a 70s TV show called The Rockford Files with James Gardner. He played a pardoned ex-con turned private investigator. I loved how he manipulated a conversation and tricked people to give him information that he needed without them even knowing it. He would do it by pretending that he forgot something or remembering it wrong, and the person he was talking to would correct him by giving them the correct information that he needed.
Hi, remember me? Arthur Hagel, Western American Insurance? Yeah, can I speak to Mrs. Lederer?
Oh, I'm sorry. She isn't in. She went to pick up her jewels.
Well, maybe you could help me. When I was here before, Mrs. Lederer gave me the name of a private detective agency she had hired, and I seem to have misplaced my notes. Would you happen to remember the name?
Oh, you must mean Mr. Slauson.
Right, Slauson, Tom, wasn't it?
No, Murray on Wilshire Boulevard.
Of course, Murray Slauson. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It always worked like a charm, every time. I got to actually use this technique a few times while I was there. One time was about this one incident that is too serious to share. But this other time, in particular, was during lunch. I was walking down the hallway, and I could see that the vice principal was pretty upset about something, and I asked him what's going on. He points up at the wall in big black letters, and it says, "Silk, satin, velvet." I looked at him and asked, "What about it?" He said, "I just want to find out who this person is. It's all over the school. It's everywhere. It's in the bathrooms. It's in the hallways. It's on the walls, everywhere." I said, "Leave it to me. I'll find out who it is." Now, all I needed was a name. I didn't care how I got it. I just needed a name. Now, to protect the guilty, I'm not going to use any real names. But after I told the vice principal that I would find out who it is, I walked down towards the lunchroom. And in the hallway, just outside the lunchroom, was a table with two students sitting there selling something. I can't remember what it was, if it was cupcakes or raffle tickets, but all I remember is that they were selling something. I sat at the edge of the table and started chatting with them. About a minute later, I saw another student coming into the hallway and said, "Oh, Tommy, Silk Satin Velvet says hi." He said, "Silk Satin Velvet? Who's that?" And one of the girls at the table says, "That's Tina Jones." He said, "I don't know any Tina Jones." I just smiled and said, "Well, anyway, she says hi." After that, I went back to the vice principal and told him, "The person you're looking for is Tina Jones." He said, "How do you know that?" I told him the story of just what happened and how I got the name, and he just started laughing. So later on, he calls her into the office, and she fesses up to it, and eventually ends up having to scrub her name, her tag, off of everywhere she had written it. So here ended the lesson.